Starting the bulletin with top updates coming in from Israel. The Jewish state is now gearing up for a potential multi-front war, days after a devastating onslaught from Gaza's Hamas regime. Over 1,200 Israelis have been killed in the Hamas attacks so far. On the other hand, more than 950 people have been reportedly killed in Gaza, which has come under intense bombing from Israel's retaliatory airstrikes. Israel has also reported killing some 1,000 Hamas militants who infiltrated the Israeli territories since October 7th. In the latest, former Hamas Chief Khalid Mashal called for protests across the Muslim world on Friday in support of the Palestinians. Mashal also called on neighboring countries like Jordan, Syria, Lebanon and Egypt to join the fight against Israel. Now, the call from former Hamas leader came shortly after Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant declared that a full-blown ground offensive in Gaza is in the offing. He said that Israel started the offensive from the air, which will be followed by a ground assault. Gallant was speaking to Israeli troops near the Gaza fence, where the Israeli forces say that some 300,000 reservists have been deployed now. Moments ago, Israel pounded the Islamic University of Gaza with heavy airstrike. The latest strike comes amid concerns around mounting civilian casualties as Israel indiscriminately bombs the densely populated Gaza Strip. Over 2,300 such airstrikes have been carried out so far on what Israel says are Hamas hideouts. The Gazan authorities have just informed that 30 people were killed in the Israeli strikes overnight. Hamas has also confirmed the death of some of its top commanders in Israeli attacks. But the militant group has nonetheless threatened to begin executing hostages, that is, if Israel continues to strike civilian households without any kind of prior warning. Hamas is holding up to 150 hostages, and these include Israeli and foreign nationals. Civilians in Gaza, on the other hand, are scrambling to flee the narrow strip of land, which has now been blockaded completely by Israel. Egypt, on its part, is moving to contain the mass exodus of Gazans into its soil. Egypt's military had taken up new positions close to the border between Egypt and Gaza and was running patrols to monitor the area. Israeli bombings have already halted crossings at the only exit point from the Palestinian enclave. And amid the fresh attacks and counterattacks, the Israeli forces have confirmed the arrival of the first tranche of advanced ammunition from the United States of America. The U.S. aid arrived in Israel as U.S. President Joe Biden called the attacks by Hamas an act of sheer evil. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is also set to visit Israel on Thursday to meet with senior Israeli leaders in a show of solidarity and support. Well, at least 14 Americans have been killed so far in Israel, with an unspecified number of Americans missing or being held hostage. And for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen is joining us live from Renana. Jody has been covering the Israel-Hamas conflict for us very closely from Ground Zero. Hi, Jody. Welcome to the show. What is the on-ground situation like as of now? Are rockets still raining in from the Gazan side?
Hi, Rahisha. Yes, so I'm outside a community bomb shelter here because on Tuesday night there were further rockets fired into the south and centre of the country from Hamas in Gaza and in the north from Hezbollah in Lebanon. And now on Wednesday morning there were further rockets in the south and in the north. For the first time there was shelling coming from Syria. Now, as the fighting has eased with the infiltrators from Hamas in the south, the atrocities are being discovered. 70 people were found dead in Kfar Aza, including the bodies of 40 babies, some of whom had been decapitated. A woman was found with her fetus ripped out of her stomach and people burned alive. And 100 more people were found to have been murdered nearby in Be'eri. And an IDF officer has said that this isn't a war or a battlefield, it's a massacre. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has also reminded people that Hamas started the war with the attack on Saturday, killing 1,000 Israeli civilians, which is the deadliest day in Israel's history. And the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust as well, but he said that Israel will finish the war.
Right, Jody. Clearly, this conflict is undoubtedly taking its toll on both the sides. Now, the Israeli military has seemingly increased its bombing in Gaza. Is there any word on the ground assault?
Right, so the IDF, in the latest struck 200 targets in the Al-Furqan and Kano neighborhoods, which are thought to be terror nests. The IDF says it's striking military targets. We also know that they're striking buildings that have been taken over by Hamas. For example, today it destroyed Hamas's aerial detection capabilities, which they said were hidden in solar water heaters across the Gaza Strip. The IDF spokesperson
Right.
said that the scenes are very difficult to watch, but the fighting will intensify.
Right, Judy. Right, Judy. Thanks for joining us right now on WION. Please stay safe. We'll continue our rolling coverage of the Israel-Hamas conflict.